So talk about how it works and what do you do there?
Well, the FEI is starting at the basics, the FEI is the worldwide governing body for equestrian sport. It is our representative body for equestrian sport at the Olympics. It is the organizer of the World Equestrian Games. It's responsible for 10 disciplines, 8 global disciplines: jumping, dressage, eventing, paradressage, reining, vaulting, endurance, and driving, and 2 regional sports, horseball and tent pegging. The 8 global sports are the mainstay of the FEI, and they are the main regulating body for international competitions in those disciplines. Canada is, as you say, a member of the FEI through Equine Canada, and we do our best to ensure that the best interest of Canadian equestrians are promoted through the FEI, as well as the best interest of the global sport are pursued by the FEI. Because of the history of equestrian sport, and particularly because of the history of the FEI, it's based in Lausanne. Previously, it was based in France many years ago. It is an organisation, an institution with a significant European focus. Not surprisingly, again, given our sport, but that often means that the interests, the views of athletes and horses outside of the continent of Europe can be an afterthought. The best example of this was, I have to say, I remember seeing one of my colleagues from Australia having to protest loudly and persistently that the dates for the seasons that were being imposed upon his country were not rational, because they did not take into consideration the fact that Australia's seasons are the reverse of Europe's seasons. That was unintentional by the FEI, but the fact that that had not occurred to anyone is indicative of the fact that this equestrian sport is so large and so all-consuming in Europe that it can be easy to forget that the rest of the world exists. But the way in which the FEI functions is each country, each national equestrian federation has one seat at the General Assembly, and each country has one vote. So on the other hand, I have some sympathy for my European colleagues who might point out that they might have hundreds of thousands of members of horses and riders in their country, but on the floor of the General Assembly they only have one vote, whereas a small island in the Pacific or in the Caribbean that might have 2 or 3 horses or riders also has one vote. I can see how that would irk them. But the principle of one country, one vote is at the foundation of the FEI. In terms of Canada's involvement specifically, I have tried as one of Canada's representatives to the FEI to represent my country honourably and forcefully in the FEI, and I've been very pleased to do that. I would say that I think that it's something of a surprise, I would say, from time to time, but I think that Canada has earned the respect of our colleagues in the international system. Recently, the FEI struck a constitutional task force that was looking at rewriting the constitution of the FEI, of the entire global governing architecture, the entire architecture of the global governing system. As you alluded to, I was asked to chair that task force. I was very honoured to be asked, and I was very privileged to work with people from every hemisphere, every continent of the globe. We made a series of recommendations for some small, also some significant reforms to the way in which the FEI governs itself. We presented those at the last General Assembly in Rio de Janeiro in November, and my understanding is that the Bureau, which is a bit like the Board of Directors of the FEI, is now taking time to study our recommendations and decide what next steps it wishes to take. I would say that if I had a magic wand, without going into the individual details of the constitutional proposals we've made, the basic themes I would have to say that I would like to see, or we would like to see, happen at the FEI in order to make it truly a global governing body worthy of the name, is to see it become more democratic, more deliberative, and more transparent in the way in which it operates. The FEI is a bit like the United Nations in that it is a democratic institution, in that every country has one vote, but it's also the case that the experience of democracy in those individual countries varies enormously from place to place. Perhaps the best example of this would be that one of my colleagues from one of the Asian federations did take me to task gently, kindly, but sincerely nevertheless, during the work of the Constitutional Task Force, when he accused me of, in his words, fetishizing democracy. And what he meant by that was, democracy isn't the be-all and end-all of the world, you know. He may be right, but I think that democracy ranks very highly. I don't think that you can have an international institution that can serve the people of the world unless it is accountable to the people of the world. And in the relatively cozy and often privileged world of international equestrian sport, that is a more radical idea than most Canadians would suspect.
So how do you